Right, from the studio in Fairfax City, we are very grateful that Silje Espevik accepted our invitation to our show. Silje, welcome to my humble podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, no problem. Let's go back to the beginning of your life. Silje, were you born like in a musical family? How were you when you perhaps began taking, I don't know, guitar lesson or piano lesson?
I started playing the piano. I'm not from a musical family. No one in my family plays an instrument, I don't think. I hope I'm not making someone feel bad now, because maybe they do and I just don't know about it. But I'm not from a very musical family. Though my parents, they did like music to a certain degree, like they used to listen to music. But I started to play piano when I was still a child, which is like my introduction to music, really. And I think I quickly found that playing the piano, I had a very lovely piano teacher, but she was quite strict in the sense that you had to like follow the sheet music and kind of like play what you were supposed to. And I've always found most of my enjoyment of music from like making up my own melodies or changing the things that we were supposed to play. Yeah, so I kind of started making music just like on the piano, like instrumental pieces and stuff like that. And then when I moved on to the guitar, it became much easier to write songs with like, lyrics and melodies and stuff like that. And I was also very lucky to get a computer while I was, which had, GarageBand on it, like a MacBook. So I started making demos and it all just really went from there. Yeah.
All right, that's a good story. And my understanding is that although you begin with piano and you began writing proper song until you eventually you'll pick up the guitar, right? And then you with your friends start like every band in a garage band and trying to make something, right?
Yeah, I think it's a very quite common like gateway way to make producing music is GarageBand, because it's free with an iPad or with a MacBook or whatever. You can even have it on your phone as well. So it's quite accessible, I would say, at least more accessible than it's been before to make music. So yeah, and for me it was just I never did any like guitar lessons, and it was easier for me to be like free on the guitar, I think, than the piano, because I had learned it with like rules or whatever. So when I started to pick up the guitar, it was just easier to make songs, I think.
How old were you at the time?
Oh, I don't remember. Maybe like
12, 14 or?
Yeah, something like that, probably. There was like an old guitar laying around. I think my dad wanted to become a guitar player and he never like quite made it happen. So that's how it started on. And then I had demos going on for a while before I started during the pandemic. I started to put some of them on SoundCloud, actually, which is quite like, it was a lot of fun and very scary. So the good thing about SoundCloud is that you can be quite anonymous. And then I was very lucky that two Italian guys that I feel very grateful towards picked up my music and wanted to release it on their like small little label. So that's kind of how I started Yndling as like the project Yndling, and they released it like properly on streaming services and stuff like that in 2021. So that was really nice. And yeah, then I started working with like a proper producer who's been with me producing everything since then. He's called Adrian Sandberg, which is a very Norwegian sounding name as well.
Yeah, man, your language is complicated.
Yeah.
I cannot even pronounce anymore. So those were, you mentioned the soft demos or so, and then you put it in SoundCloud, and then you are lucky that somebody picked it up, right?
I was very lucky. It was really like the boost of confidence that I really needed at the time, because I've been thinking about it as a hobby, and then it was so much fun to have as a hobby, just writing for myself and having that sort of output. But then, I went to shows and I really understood that I wanted to like try to be on stage and be like a proper musician as well. And that kind of requires to have music on streaming services. But I think when it's your first time releasing music, it kind of takes a lot to kind of put it out there. Like it's a very vulnerable thing to do. And it was very difficult for me to kind of like trust myself that the music was good enough. So I'm very grateful that I actually picked it up, because it made it so much easier. because I had gotten that like external validation from someone saying that, yeah, you should keep going. So that's very lucky, I know.
You were still in the equivalent of high school, right? 14, 15 years old or something.
When I was making the SoundCloud demos, I was like high school, yeah. But yeah. But now it's also been very important. We're very lucky as well, because here in Norway they have like quite a few grants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So after I did my first EP, I also got like a grant to record my first album in the studio, the Mood Booster album that came out last year. So yeah. Then,
So
sorry.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna, because it's easier. I'm just gonna, yeah. So we recorded the EP in 2022, and then we started to play a lot of live shows, and then recorded an album that came out last year. And now we have like a new album. So that's like my main project at the moment, is this new album that I'm very.
So when you
happy to
finish
be
high
releasing.
school, you knew back then that you wanted to be a musician? Any pressure from your family, about your dad, your mom? Hey, forget about music. You're not going to make any money. Yeah, you know, go to university, become a doctor, engineer, and don't music on the side, or you were free to choose?
I think they've always had trust in me. I think that's also part of being lucky enough to live in a country like Norway, because we do have that safety net just with the way the society is kind of structured and everything. There's like university, we don't pay for it, it's free. So it's not like, I think the pressure in Norwegian families are probably lower to do things like that, and it's a bit freer because healthcare is free and you can go to university at any time. So they are still a bit worried, I think. I obviously work part-time with music because I'm not making enough money at all to live off it. Yeah, but they've been very nice about it. So
You still work full part-time, or you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very difficult to live off music. I'm expecting to have to work part-time, maybe always, but that's fine. I really like my life, so we'll see.
So,
Sorry, I'm losing your sound a little bit.
sorry, say that?
No, that's fine. I was losing your sound, but it's back now.
I see. I got you. Let me talk closer to the microphone. So eventually, right? So you accumulated a lot of music, and eventually, it wasn't enough to keep it as a hobby, and you decided to, well, let me spend a couple of years, try music, and then see where I go. And you did very well. I
I've
heard
been
that
very lucky.
you're not lucky so much. In United States, luck help you. They say luck help you up to a certain point.
Yeah,
Then
maybe that's true.
eventually it's talent, right? So, uh, Adele is not lucky, right? Yeah, she got lucky at the beginning, I suppose, but eventually it's talent and a good manager and people like your music, but you need to be good at what you do. So I my understanding that you were inspired by such bands such as Mazzy Star, Beach House, Cocteau, Men I Trust, and so on, right? Like Drink.
Absolutely.
Why you like that kind of band? What any?
I think it's because, especially with more of like the shoegazy stuff, like Mazzy Star isn't shoegaze, but they've got some louder songs, and it kind of allows you for being loud whilst being very, very quiet, if that makes sense. My voice is quite low, not very, like it's almost like a whisper sometimes, and it's just that feeling of being able to express a lot, like you have a lot of sounds and layers to the music, but you can still be super, super quiet. I think it's really, really cool. I had never heard anything like that before I started to listen to Beach House and Then I Trust, and eventually Mazzy Stars and Cocteau Twins and stuff like that. And it's also music that doesn't, I find it to be how can I say it? It's like it doesn't tell you how to feel. So you have like these sort of like more pop songs, and they're very clear, like the vocals are upfront and they kind of like tell you how to feel, and they're not as, I don't find them to be as poetic. Obviously that depends on the listener and you can have different opinions on that one, but for me it's something about dream pop and that softness in it that doesn't tell me how to feel, kind of allows me to make up my own opinion about the music in a way that I haven't found with other music, if that makes sense.
No, it does. I really like that area as well, the shoegaze band. So for me, it's an important part of my life. I grew up, well, I'm older than you, so I grew up listening to stuff in the 80s and 90s. So I interview Lash, and
Really?
then
Wow.
yeah, and I'm going to be interviewing one lady for Cranes. Let me see, by Bloody Valentine. I know during the summer, well, in the fall, going to be interviewing Liz Fraser and
Really?
yeah.
Wow, that's so
All this,
amazing. That makes me
yeah.
feel like I'm an amazing company. What the fuck? That's really weird. That's really
You're getting there. Don't be so humble.
wow.
You're getting there. Yeah. I mean, Cocteau has been around 40 years. And Liz Fraser, that's another world altogether. I mean,
Yes, of course. Yeah.
yeah, but that's a great band from the like I said, Cranes a great band. No as well known Lash. And by Bloody Valentine were the left. Always looking for band around that kind of theme. Although
Yeah.
I like a wide range of stuff. So but
Yeah.
I'm glad that you find that area and you like it. Do you remember? I mean, beside that type of music you were listening, when you were like at the beginning, 18 to 20 years old, uh, that's the music that you grew up listening to, or yeah,
I
or
think
or
I
or
find, I
your
find
Radiohead or other band of the.
I found a lot of it on YouTube, I remember. They used to be like it's still like a thing, but especially like I don't know, 2018 maybe, making music videos like from old films with different music. So they just like people had this as a hobby, I think, to make music videos. And especially I have one channel that's called something Cyborg. I can't remember at the moment, but they have like a lot of really lovely just compilation of old film footage to music. And I think that's how I found at least Beach House. And they also have some other Dream Puppy songs on there. And the weird thing now is that some of my songs have also been on that channel, which makes like it's such a weird moment for me because so many artists that I love have been on that side of YouTube. So I think that was probably like my way into it. And then, as it goes, when you it's funny to me now because I get a lot of comments, especially from people who listen mostly to pop music, that my vocals are very hidden on my tracks. And for me, I can't really hear it. I remember I used to think the same when I first started listening to that kind of music because it is a bit different. Like you have to kind of concentrate. You have to like dig into the mix a little bit to kind of like get the words out. But it's just like that you get used to it, So from maybe like the more upfront ones like Men I Trust and stuff like that, I got into, yeah, like you said, My Bloody Valentine and Cocteau Twins and stuff like that. Yeah, and then I should talk about a bit him as well because I'm working with the producer I'm working with is called, like I said, Adrian Sandberg. And he's got a bit of different influences, which I think has been really, really cool, like to kind of bring into the music as well. He's got more of a, I think he's got more of like, I don't know if metal would be the word, but at least more of like a rock background. And he also really likes, and I do as well, but he's like a really big Tame Impala fan as well. So he's brought in some really good bass lines in some of my music and more of like a percussion side of that as well. And he's also such a brilliant guitarist, which has really made my music shine as well, because for me, I'm not that great at playing guitar. I'm like more of a pianist. I love playing the guitar because it's much easier for me to find melodies on it. But he's a very good guitarist, and he plays with the band live as well, and is the lead guitarist live.
Where does the inspiration come from when writing lyrics, for example? Your
Oh,
lyrics sometimes are very personal. I don't know if they're personal that you make that up, or personal in the sense that hey, you broke up with a boyfriend or this or that or love affair or this. It's probably it's a combination of both, right? When somebody write that they don't write in the kind of the first person, but people can associate with what you're thinking about, whether it happened to you or not, and you make that up is completely relevant. People can put themselves into that scenario, right?
Yes, I do write solely, I would say, about my own life and experiences. I used to find it because music used to be just something that I would do, and it would be only most like my way of communicating with myself. And it's just been, I used to find it so scary. I still find it really scary. But the thing is that I've come to realize that the more personal that I am in my lyrics, there are so many people who feel the exact same way. Like the human experience is it's kind of the same for everyone at different stages in life. Like obviously we don't always feel the same sort of situations, but it's not necessarily unique. And by being very, very personal, you're also being able to connect with a lot of people, because I don't expect people listening to my music to necessarily care about my relationship. I want them to kind of care about the feeling and then use that for something in their life and for something they're going through, if that makes sense. So I used to find it so scary because it is extremely personal. But then, I don't know, it's also nice to be able to kind of put it into words, and it's not as scary when you see how much it kind of resonates with some people.
Do you get nervous playing live music? Like the 10 minutes before you start playing the
I
first
get very
song?
nervous, yeah. I do. I've actually found, because we've been so lucky that especially this year we've gotten to travel quite a lot to play international shows, and I do find it a lot easier when I know that no one that I know from my normal life is going to be in the crowd. Like we're doing a show here in Oslo on Thursday, and I think that I'm very, very, very nervous about that, because it's scary to know that people like my friends and stuff will be in the crowd. Yeah, so that's actually like the scariest part, but I do get very nervous because it's I don't know, when people like pay to come see me and maybe they've built the music up to something, I want to kind of like deliver and to give them what they want, and I hope that they don't get disappointed. All those kind of thoughts, you know.
Like I couldn't do what you do. I go and see you, but I couldn't write or I couldn't. No, it's because you really, like you say, you need to open up, which is you become vulnerable in a ways. But what you think about and your lyrics, it happens to everybody. Everybody go to a
Yeah.
breakup or something in the family die. You feel lonely because your aunt passed away or things didn't work out. That's happened to anybody here in London, China, Paris. You know,
I know, I
it's what
know.
means, but that's what human beings are about, right?
Yeah, it's like human experience, you know.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the process now? That's lyric. What's the process of you writing a song, right? You are the type of girl that you go to your job, you go to a supermarket and you hear a beat, or you're watching TV and you hear something you do, man, you write it down, and from there you put two and two together, and eventually you record your phone, and then I have 10 seconds there. What do I do with this 10 seconds? And what's the process, the creative process for you?
It's such a good question because it really differs sometimes, and most times it's been that I have like a feeling, I would say, more than it's not like I have lyrics that I think about and then write them down. It happens sometimes, but it's very rarely. So it's more like I have this feeling, or maybe something I've been thinking about. It could be something that I'm processing in my life or whatever. And it kind of just comes out as a song. I know that's a very unsatisfying answer, but it's like one or two ways. So either I would do like a whole song on the guitar, and that's more like I used to do it a lot in the beginning. It's more like a singer-songwriter way of writing a song, where you write like a whole song, and it's basically that I've been thinking about something and I sit down with my guitar and I just like play around and I sing on top, and the lyrics and the melody, they kind of come at the same time. Or which I'm doing a bit more often now because I'm really getting into like the creative sides of production. Like I find it to be creating the sound is as much as writing a song, I think. So that could be that I have like this little idea, maybe this little melody in my head or something, and I will just get it into I use Logic now. So I just would get it into Logic and kind of play around with it, and then I would sing over top of it, and it's kind of just like goes from there. Yeah.
You know how to manage Logic and Pro Tools, that kind of stuff? And I mean, the basic, yeah. Good
Yeah,
for you.
Logic is I think it's very user friendly. Yeah, and it's a great way to be able, because I'm very particular about what kind of sound that I want. So if I were to go to, like now I have this producer that I've been working with since the start, and he's great. So we really know each other and understand where we're going. But at the beginning, like if I just came with a song on the guitar, it could end up being very singer-songwriter, which wasn't the sound that I wanted. So I think it's very important to kind of make an effort to learn, if not how to fully produce and finish and mix and everything, then at least to learn how to like get your message across and your sound across if you're going to work with other people. So for me, that's been very important, and it's also a lot of fun, and it's quite easy now as well, especially with like you have so many, like you can use samples if you want. If you're not good at making drums, you can use those just to kind of get going and stuff.
Many plugins are available nowadays, but you need to put it together. You know how to use it. That's not that easy. It seems to me that a lot of people out there have ideas about anything, but they're not willing to do the work.
Yeah.
Which are two different things, right? Whether you're a musician or a scholar or you want to go to university, people in general are kind of lazy. Having ideas is not good enough. Being painful and spend hours and hours and hours struggling, crying, feeling stress. That's the only way to accomplish anything, So
it really is. You have to like allow yourself to be really bad. And I remember, especially when I was starting out, I used to find it like so scary to listen to my own voice in the recordings, because it's so in your face, and especially when you're making up a melody, it doesn't always sound that nice the first times around you're singing it, because you haven't like decided on the notes or whatever. So you have to like allow yourself to sound kind of bad and kind of just open up that space to yourself. And now, like, I don't really care. I can even show people a demo where I know I'm singing quite bad, and I don't really care. So it really is like exposure therapy.
Exposure therapy, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you ever thought about collaborating with other people? Or is something that, like in a track, like, I don't know, reaching out to Liz Fraser or Robin Guthrie from the Cocteau Twins and stuff like that? Is something that you would be interested in, or?
I mean, obviously, I would love to make tracks with either one of those two, and loads of my heroes who were big and really got through in like the 90s. I do have a few tracks that I've made with some musicians that I really admire. So I have a track that's called Never Is Easy, which is made and written with this Mexican band called Petit Ami. And it's really good. I actually found them. I felt like such a stalker, but I love to watch the KEXP live sessions from like the Seattle radio station, and they were doing a live session, and I just thought it was really, really cool. So I sent them like a message on Instagram, and we ended up making a track together, which I'm very proud of. It turned out really nice.
Well, once I talked to the Cocteau Twin, at least I will mention your name to see if they're interested in working. It will be. I can make the introduction. It's up to them after that. But happy to help. And you played here in the United States before, right? You were in the South by Southwest, right? Right? Yeah.
Yeah, we've done 2 showcase shows in the US. So we did South by Southwest, and we also did a showcase festival in New York that's called New Colossus, which was really, really great as well. The thing is, if you're going to play, like do a proper tour in the US, you need like a special visa for it.
That's right.
Yeah, it's very expensive. So like the only like loophole you have is to do those kind of showcase festival, because they don't pay you to play showcase festival, so it's okay. So that's like the only way we've been able to do a couple of shows in the US, but I would love to come back to do a proper tour. And actually most of my audience is in the US. And when we went to travel there, we played in Texas, in Austin for South by Southwest, and we also got to do like a few unofficial showcases and stuff. And I just found the people who came to our shows, they're so open and so interested in new music. It was so nice to see. So I would love to do one of those kind of tours in the US with very small venues and just people who seem to really care about music. It's so difficult to find, I find. So we would love to be able to do a proper tour. Hopefully one day. We'll see.
Like, you gotta keep on dreaming, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
is the audience independent of the language? Let's say in your country didn't speak Norwegian and they spoke English, right? Let's say in everybody spoke. Is the audience in your country different for the audience here in, let's say, in the United States?
I would say so. We have, I guess you could say that they're a bit more introverted in a way. Like I think we have quite a bad reputation as an audience in Norway that we drink too much on concerts. I think that's quite common for like bigger ones. But for smaller shows, it's more that people tend to. This is not necessarily a bad thing, I'm not saying, but they like leave right afterwards. It's quite uncommon that they would come up and talk to me afterwards. But when we played in the US, for example, and also when we played shows just like in Denmark, actually, they like came up and spoke to me after the show and stuff like that. And I really appreciate when people do that because it's so nice just to be able to talk to people afterwards, and they want to buy vinyl or t-shirts or whatever, which isn't that common. And I also spoke to a friend of mine who used to be on the same label as me. Called Matt, but he's got a project called Cathedral Bells. And they just did their first European tour, and he also told me that it was much more difficult to sell merch in Europe, which I think is quite a common find for most, because when we went to the US, I was astonished at how many people who wanted to buy t-shirts. I had no idea. I felt like I was in the t-shirt business. But here in Europe, it's not that common to buy merch, I would say.
The people in the United States like to buy stuff, and they want to talk to you, take a picture with you, and you will sign the album or the T-shirt. That's what you can, in a way, you can recover your investment or your flight ticket by
Yes.
selling merchandise. So you can want to break even, right? It cost me,
Yes.
I don't know, $3,000 to go to the United States to do a couple gigs, and I better sell, 3,000 worth of merchandise to.
Yeah, we would do it if we had visas. Like literally, it's just the visas cost are very, very expensive. So that's like the main issue, really. And I would also, because you said you were from Chile, right? Yeah, I think, isn't that quite like a good, like Chile and Latin America in general, isn't that quite good for dream pop as well? I've heard that dream pop is quite big in Latin America. I might be wrong.
But it's proper to say it again, please.
No, I think I've heard that dream pop is quite popular in Chile and
dream
Latin
pop,
America.
Yeah. In South America, it's I would say that Chile and Argentina, right? So
Yeah.
are two countries where dream pop and pop and prog rocks or progressive bands are very well. Like every band that go there, they do very well.
That's cool, because I would love to tour like
Something
South
that you could
America. It'd be so
go
cool.
down the road, right? So Brazil also is a big crowd, and Mexico, right? The other, but you need to build, like perhaps in a couple of years from now, build the momentum,
Yes.
keep on releasing stuff. Now you play in London, play in London and play in Europe will open a lot of doors, and then you
Yeah.
will, in a couple of years from now,
I
perhaps
hope
go to
so.
South America and find a promoter, and
We'll
I
see.
will. You have my email address, so I can happy to help in any way I can with publicity or posters or.
That's very nice. Thank you. No, it's I feel very lucky, and I think I've just come to realize, because we played the most amount of shows this year than before. It's also because I started my project mid-pandemic, really. So we've really gotten so much better. So I've come to realize that it's very important that things doesn't go too quickly either. Like you kind of want to get better as you go, so you're not suddenly on a stage where you don't know and you don't feel confident enough, kind of. So I think for the tour we're doing now, it's mostly like 150, 200 cap venues. And I think like that's the perfect size for us at the moment. So I'm very excited about that. It's my first time doing a headline show in London, so that's very interesting.
Very happy for you. Your previous album, excuse me, is called uh, Mood Booster, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
my album from last year is called Mood Booster. Yeah,
It's an excellent album, actually. So I
thank you.
really like that. And in a way, I don't know if it means to you, but mood booster, in a way, is that we all go to periods where we feel down and things do not work out the way that we would want to. And in a way, it's like your album is in many ways like a defense strategy, if you will, um, to cope with issues in our life, right?
That's
And
very kind. Thank you.
um, I will recommend you a book if you like to read book from there. It's called The Wisdom of the Eagle. I will send you a link. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, please do. Okay. I
Yeah,
was going to
it's
write it down, but yeah.
because it's uh, you know it's good to that's what make us human beings. Being up, being down, good days, bad days, and so on and so forth. We all, as human beings, go to the same area, but like you say, like I say, that album is like a sort of defensive strategy, right? So to cope with uncertainties and issues in our life. So, how you put that album together? What was the main motivation to write that album and again open it up?
Mm. Well, I've always been writing songs, and then the title track of that album, Mood Booster, it's actually about like codependency, I guess you would say in English, which means when you feel like you've attached someone else's well-being or mood to your own mood. So to the point where it gets like almost a little bit toxic. So like the lyric on the chorus goes like, I could be your mood booster, kind of because you want to make someone else feel good, even though that's very difficult if if they're not doing anything for themselves, you know. It's kind of how it is to be with someone who's a bit depressed. And the other songs on the album, I would say, are also kind of exploring those sort of themes, like where do you put the boundaries between yourself and everyone else in your life, and what do you do for yourself and what do you do for others, and kind of like it's kind of like just finding balance. The whole album, I would say, is about finding balance. And when I had written that collection of songs, it just really felt like an album. So I know now, especially because I had just put out an EP and still am like a very small artist. So I guess a lot of people would probably advise me to just do EPs or singles, because that's kind of like how it's become, I guess, that people don't listen to albums anymore. At least that's what everyone is telling me. So, but I really wanted to make an album. So that's kind of how Mood Booster happened. And then I was lucky enough to get it put out on Spirit Goth, which is a small like indie label in they're based in California. And they also wanted to print it on vinyl. So I feel very lucky with that as well, that I could find someone who still wanted to put out albums for small artists, you know.
Do you do okay in terms of sales via Bandcamp?
I think so. I think what's holding a lot of people back is the shipping costs. Sorry?
Fortunately, it became very expensive but the vinyl ship from the company in the United States, right? Not from your
Yes.
company.
Yeah, I've shipped out a few because I've had a few people who were like very adamant that they wanted a signed copy, which is really sweet. But then I would have to ship them from Norway, and I have a few myself that I, sell in live shops and stuff like that. I actually don't know how many we've sold, but I know that we haven't sold out our first batch, which was only 500 copies. But hopefully, maybe they will sell out one day. We'll see.
Or the previous album was Deluxe. I think it was released in 2022, which is
Yeah.
another excellent album as well. And yeah, what was So you waited between 2022 and 24. There were 2 years in between, right? So
Yeah, that's actually because it was actually a bit of like a coincidence, or just like kind of the circumstances, because I put out the deluxe. It's listed as an album. I think of it as an EP with 2 extra tracks, but like doesn't really matter. And then I recorded the Mood Booster album very, very early in 2023, and we finished it as well in 2023, like early 2023. But then my two the Italian label, the 2 Italian guys, they stopped being a label because for them it was also a passion project, and I guess life got very busy. Which, and I was very like attached to them. So that was, and they've been very kind to me, and still are. They've been very interested in my music all the way. So that's very nice. But that meant that I had to find like a new label, and it just took a while because I was quite I was thinking about self-releasing for a while, just releasing it by myself. But then I realized I really wanted to have it on vinyl, and I wanted to have a way that vinyl could be shipped to where most of my listeners were, which was in the United States. And then it just took a while but to get like everything in order and for everything to be released. So when the album was released, which is actually exactly a year ago today, I think, like 2nd of August last year, then it had been finished for over a year, like mastered and all done. So that's why it kind of seems like things are going quite quickly now, because we have a new album already coming in November, and that's just because we sat on the Mood Booster album for quite a while before we started releasing singles.
my understanding is you're going to be touring very, very soon, right? Yeah.
Yes, we're doing
And
our
are you
first album tour, which is so exciting. Yeah,
happy? Are you excited, happy, nervous?
yeah, all of the above. Yeah, I'm very, very happy that I'm very nervous if we're going to sell enough tickets, and I'm very nervous about kind of like, I hope that we live up to whatever it is that people want to see from us. It's always scary when, I think sometimes when you follow an artist on social media, and maybe especially for me, because I've been posting on YouTube and on TikTok and stuff for a little while now. So I'm kind of scared that they think that I'm bigger than I am. So I hope they won't be disappointed by like it's going to be quite small venues, and hopefully the sound will be all right, but you never know, you know? So that's a bit nerve-wracking sometimes. And then I'm very excited about getting to meet people who actually want to listen to my music and come to shows. It's still unbelievable to me that people want to, pay to come to shows and see us play. So it's going to be very good, I hope.
Going to be all right. Don't worry.
I hope so. Thank you.
How long? It's a couple of 2 weeks before you go on tour, you begin rehearsing and then preparing everything together. Are you just playing by yourself, or you go with a band? Just by yourself?
I wish we could have a whole band, but now we've been doing like a trio set, which I think actually works really, really good. The only thing I would love to add on is like a bass player, because right now we're me as like a rhythm guitarist, and then we have Adrian as a lead guitarist and Jacob on drums, which makes such a good live show. I think to have live drums, it really, really helps from our more energetic tracks. And then we have, unfortunately, bass and synth on backing tracks. But it's been very good, and because we played, this is actually my first time of going on like a tour, which means that we're doing a lot of shows in like a short amount of time. We did it as well a little bit in the US, but this is like my first proper one. So we've been playing kind of like sporadic shows. I don't think we've had more than we had almost 1.5 months now without a show, but that's like the longest we've had in quite a while. So we kind of like always keep it fresh. So for now, we're going to make like a little bit of a new set list for our tour, but we're playing it already in Stockholm in September. So that's only a month away. So it's kind of like a continuous, always practicing, always rehearsing, always recording, always on it sort of thing.
For people that I never see you playing live, obviously, but do you use any visual behind the scenes?
We do when there's I have like different visualizers that we could put on a screen. So sometimes they have a projector and sometimes they don't. But I think that's a very important part of Dream Pop, is to kind of help to set the atmosphere. I use it like I wish we could never play places where they can't have a smoke machine. I think we always need smoke. Sometimes they don't have one, and then I feel a bit naked on stage. But visualizers and smoke would be a good fit for my music to kind of set the scene, I think.
Like there's smoke like 10 minutes before you go on stage, and where you see shadows and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very important. Visuals are it's not as important as the music, obviously, but like every detail counts. You know,
Yeah.
people go for a great scenario. People will go for the visual. People will go for the music. Every detail is important, right? So I don't need to tell you that, but
No, but it's good to know that the audience also appreciates it. So that's very
absolutely,
nice.
absolutely. I see, like I told you before, I see close to, I don't know, 50, 60 shows a year here. So
Oh, wow.
and I go to London 3 times a year, right? So it's to see bands, stuff like that. And I look at things, right? I look at why bands are different, and why people would do very well, right? People on one hand say, hey, people are not buying music anymore, or they're not buying CD, which is true. But a lot of bands do sell a lot of merchandise, a lot.
Yeah.
So you need to understand. So what's the difference, right? So, well, it's a lot of difference between the first scenario and the second scenario. And with a good music strategy, you need to understand what sells, what doesn't sell, how you can do better, right? For me, the way I see the music business, it's well, you need to be good, obviously, to play on stage, right? Obviously, right? But it's not, in my opinion, it's not about music. It's the strategy that goes behind it. Very strange way to think about that. I don't know, a lot of, like, yeah, of course, Coldplay are well known, and a lot of ladies go for Martin because he's a good-looking guy, but they do very well. And other bands are great; they do very bad. So you need to, Kim Crimson sells a lot of merchandise. The Coldplay sells a lot of merchandise, so they make
That's
millions
true.
of dollars. And that way, because the show, the light, the timing, everything is there on time, people are willing to pay the premium, right?
Yeah.
Paying more. People here in the United States, on average, like, I don't know, $200, $250 for a gig in a
So
good area.
white. It's so white.
And a lot more,
Yeah.
because people go for the scenario, the music, the lighting, everything was synchronized. It was a very well put show. So people are willing to pay the premium, right?
But I also like the idea that people like that it's accessible to go to listen to live shows, that it's not too expensive, that you could still do it and see your favorite bands even if you don't have that much money. Because $250, that's a lot for a show, I think.
People pay a lot more here. And of course,
Yeah.
I see concert where I pay $40, right, or $50.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
see a lot of them that I pay a lot more because everything was put together. It's
Yeah.
not different. Okay, so let me give you an scenario, right? In Oslo, right? If you go and go for a coffee shop, right, and you get a muffin or a bagel and a good coffee, and you pay, I don't know, $10, right? You can do the same for an inexpensive, right, place, and you pay $6, right? So you're comparing
Yeah.
6 or 10, right? And you say, why I want to pay 10? Well, because the bathrooms are clean and the people treat you well, they greet you, the napkins are right there, it's a good lining, you can bring your computer. So that's what I'm saying. People are willing to pay the premium if the value added is a lot more.
Yeah, that makes sense. But it makes it inaccessible for a lot of people when show tickets get that expensive, I think. I think like obviously when you're like on star level, like, I guess Coldplay and the ones you mentioned, I guess it takes a lot of money to put together a stadium tour. I'm guessing like so many people have to work just for a show. It's not just for the artist, which people seem to kind of misunderstand sometimes, thinking everything goes to the artist. Obviously it doesn't, but it still makes it very inaccessible. So I think it shouldn't be more than $100 to like see a show, I don't think. But maybe that's very European of me. I don't know.
Well, but of course, you can get cheaper seats in the back, right? Way up there.
Yeah.
Right? Wide range. What else? Yeah, we should. And everything here, everything in is the same. And like you say, in a Coldplay gig, there are 100 people put in the scenario and the track and put it in and then take everything down. And the same goes with Hans Zimmer. I don't know if you have seen Hans Zimmer live. There are 100 people. There are 100 people working behind the scene, right?
Yeah.
The light, the track, put it together, and so it isn't like the artist is making $1 million a night, right?
No. I think people do misunderstand that. Yeah, making the show custom. So I agree with you. I get what you mean, but it's also sad to think that so many music lovers won't get the opportunity to see it live because it's so much money, you know?
You end up releasing Fences. That was released, what was the first? Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
Very good track.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. Yeah.
How was what received? Was received okay? You get a lot of comments, messages?
Yeah, it's been good actually. It's always a bit scary putting out new music. But this one seems to be well liked already, which is very nice. So, and we've also played it a lot live, so it doesn't feel as new to me, which is very nice. Like we played it on all of our shows this spring, and it's been a lot of fun to play live.
And recently, also you released another one, right? In the palm of your hand, and that was released of June. Well, a couple of months ago, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of like how I've decided to release this next album. So after I finished making my debut album, Mood Booster, I kind of wanted to dive into two different aspects of my sound a little bit. And I had that more darker shoegazy sound that I wanted to kind of really, because it's so much fun to play live, those kind of tracks with like loads of sound and loads of like heavy guitars and stuff like that. So I wanted to like really properly dive into that sound. So with this album that's coming in November, we've divided it in two parts to kind of like make that very obvious. So the first part is called I'm in the Palm of Your Hand, which came in June. And that consists of 5 songs, which really embraces that shoegazy sound. And then the songs that are coming in the last part of the album, and songs that are coming this fall, they have more of like the trip hoppy, like, Portishead, Massive Attack sort of vibe. So this first one isn't quite there yet, but some of the ones that are coming are like very much inspired by, Massive Attack and and the kind of trip-hoppy sound as well. So I'm very excited to see what people would think of it. I can send you the album afterwards if you want.
Yeah, of course, I was planning to. We'd love to get the album, and quite sure we'll do a follow-up interview when the album is released. Feel free to mention where people can buy your music, your website, I would put the link in the Bandcamp link.
Yes, please do. You can buy it on Bandcamp, or you can buy it on the Spirit Goth website. Spirit Goth is my label, so I will put that to you so you can put it in the description. If you're in Europe and want to come to one of our shows, that would be lovely. We're playing in the UK in November, and also doing a show in Amsterdam, Copenhagen, and Berlin, and hoping to expand if it goes well with the ticket sales.
In the US next year.
I hope so. Yeah, I really, really hope so.
It was very nice talking to you. You are doing very well. Keep on dreaming, so to speak, and you will do very well. You will do very well.
Thank you.
You're a great artist, and a humble person, and you're doing all right. It takes time, like anything in life. Go from step 1 to step 3, step 4, and so. But you will make it, and you will do all right. So if that's your dream, go for it. So,
yeah,
it was
really
very nice.
That.
Very nice talking to you. Have a great weekend down there.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye-bye.